Hi, I'm Judy. Welcome to this Yin Yoga fall practice that revolves around the metal element, your lungs, and your large intestine. Gather up all your props, your blocks, your bolster, some blankets, and then meet me back on the mat. You may want to have that blanket nearby. You can use it to pad your knees. You can use it to pad the tops of your feet if it's uncomfortable to have them on the mat. And go ahead and just sit your hips back onto your heels. And like I said, blanket can go under here, it can go under here, it can go between your thighs and your shins, whatever makes you feel comfortable. What we're going to do though is give your wrists a really good stretch. So take them and point the fingers towards your body, and as much as possible, get your palms onto the mat. And you may need to experiment with walking forward, your hands walking forward, walking backwards, just giving your wrist a stretch. Today we are going to be working on strengthening our low back, on opening our heart and our hips, and being present now, being in the present moment. This is a great time to set an intention. And as you are stretching those wrists, I would like to read you a short poem from Rumi, a very famous Sufi poet. Don't worry, we'll be done with these wrists soon. In fact, let's go ahead and, still having the fingers pointing towards your body, go ahead and take the tops of your hands. So we're stretching it out in both directions. This is now. Now is all there is. Don't wait for then. Strike the spark. Light the fire. And that's from Rumi. And metal, when you think about it, helps to create sparks. As we move through this practice, I'd like you to ask yourself, how can I be more present in this moment? And also to use the affirmation, I am here now. And go ahead and let that go. Maybe circle your wrists around. I'm sure if you're like me, you really felt that. But all that typing we do, we need to stretch these wrists. Otherwise, bad things happen. Come back up in an easy seat. I suggest on something. I'm sitting on the edge of a blanket. And we're going to stretch out the side of the neck. These are areas that are associated with our lungs and our large intestines in the metal element. So go ahead and take your left ear towards your left shoulder, and take your right hand to your left hip, and go ahead and take the left hand and make a little fist on that hip. It doesn't matter where it gets to. It could be further back here. It could be further around. Just stretching out your upper back and stretching your neck. And let the shoulders soften. What do you need to do in this moment to feel more present? I was feeling right now that I was kind of hunching over. I don't want to do that. So I was lengthening out my spine. Last couple of breaths here. And then take your hands behind you in a fist. Little stretch. Again, opening across the shoulders. And we're going to the second side. So we're taking our right ear towards our right shoulder, and then taking that left hand over towards the right hip and grabbing it with the right hand. You should feel this all down the side of the left of your body, your left torso. If you begin to feel a pinching or pulling or tingling like I just did, you might want to move your hands a little closer to that left side. You may have gone a little too far. We don't want any pinched nerves. Last couple of breaths. And then slowly raise your head back upright. And again, just stretch across the shoulders and then let that go. Come briefly back into a tabletop position. Grab your blanket or your bolster if you'd like. They are optional. We're going to move into supported Sphinx pose. So the object here is to really open up across the front of our body. So we're taking a little bit forward of our navel onto the bolster. Again, play around with the position of your hands. They can be a little further out from your body. They can be a little closer. The affirmation you can use today is I am here now. Middle is a season that asks us to begin to go inward. After all the fun and the fire and the activity of summer, we begin to go inward so that we can prepare for the darkness of winter. It's a time to let go of the things that are not serving you, or the things that are finished. It's also a time to finish up projects. You can choose to remain in this moment, in this pose, right here, right now, or press into your palms and begin to straighten out your arms without locking those elbows. So you're getting a nice upper body and lower body stretch, giving those lungs room to breathe. Perhaps tucking the chin a little bit, making sure that your forehead isn't jutting up towards the ceiling or the heavens. And every inhale, feel the lungs expanding along your back. And back ribs opening up. And on every exhale, letting go. Releasing tension. Being in the now, forgetting about the next step. Last couple breaths. Begin to walk your hands back towards your bolster or your torso. Press into your palms to come back up into a tabletop position. And you can rest right there. Take any movements you might like. Or bring your big toes together and your knees out as wide as your mat. Bringing your hips back to your heels, maybe your forehead towards the mat. Taking a brief rest in child pose. And press into your palms, and again, walk them back towards your torso. Come up into tabletop, and legs come out to either side. And grab all your props. Now, you can do this next pose without any props at all, but I'm going to suggest that you have a few. So, it's going to take some setup. Begin with a folded blanket, approximately like this. You're going to take it across about a third of the way down your mat, all approximations, and then just roll it. And you may need to grab this again when you lay down. These things have a way of moving and unfolding. You're going to want about the tips of your shoulder blades coming onto the roll. I'm going to move it down a little bit. If you have a bolster, if you don't have a bolster, you can roll up some blankets. If you do, go ahead and bring that, leave a little space for your head. Your arms are going to stretch overhead, if that's comfortable, of course, and they're going to rest on the bolster. And the final piece of the puzzle is to grab a couple of blocks. Again, all of it. You can just be laying on your back, and you'll see where I'm going with this in just a second. So bring the soles of your feet to your mat. Slowly begin to come down on your blanket and feel when your shoulder blades are on top of that roll. Okay, we're trying to open across the heart. That is the purpose. Go ahead and grab the blocks. Allow your head to come down towards the mat. Might need to press the bolster even further. Soles of the feet come together. Knees come out to either side, and blocks go under your thighs. Inhale. Stretch your arms over your head. And they rest on the bolster. And now that you've finally arrived, just be here now. As you're getting into this pose, reclined butterfly, ask yourself what you need to be more present in this pose. What do you need to adjust? And once you've adjusted that, just come to stillness and let your body open up, and maybe even take your hands a little further apart and just really feel that opening across your upper back. And of course, if this is too difficult on your shoulders, you can always have your arms out to your sides. I actually love the metal element and the poses that are associated with them that help us to really open up and breathe fully and get into some of those areas we just don't get into. And now I will be quiet. Let your thighs just completely melt into those blocks. Feel supported by the blanket underneath your shoulder blade. Feel how open your body feels, even if it's a struggle. I am here now. Maybe feel your breath coming up through the soles of your feet, all the way up your spine to the crown of your head, and then exhaling from the crown of your head all the way back down. Last couple of breaths here. And then let your hands come down. Bandit, you gotta move up, buddy. Come on. Bandit, buddy. Buddy, you're completely blocking me, sweetheart. Oh, that's a good boy. There you go. That's good. Go ahead and grab your knees. Might want to bring your bolster just to raise your head a little bit so you're not cranking on that neck. And just briefly bring your knees in towards your chest. Relax that low back. And then go ahead and take the soles of your feet back to your mat. Put your blocks over to one side. Maybe roll over to one side as we set up for our next poses. Take your bolster. Oh, buddy, no. My little helper. Take your bolster. Put it off to the side. But hold on to your blanket. And then just fold it in half. You might feel like you want it in our next pose, which are supine twists. So come over to the right edge of your mat, slowly down to your back. Inhale, knees come in towards the chest, and then fall over to one side. You can take that blanket, put it between your knees, let your knees relax into the blanket, and maybe take your left hand on top of the right knee, and inhale, stretch the right hand up and over your head, maybe looking towards that right arm. I am here now. How can you just be in the present moment in this pose? What little movements, what repositioning do you need to do? Last couple of breaths here. Nope. And then slowly begin to bring your knees upright. Lift your hips up and set them down in the middle of your mat, keeping that blanket between your knees if you're using it. Just pause. Notice any sensations you might feel, anywhere you're still holding tension. I have a real habit of holding tension in those shoulder blades, in the upper shoulders. And inhale, lift the hips, bring them over to the left side of your mat. Bring the knees in, and then gently let them fall over. Inhale, raise the left arm up and overhead. Notice where your mind is. Is it in this moment? What are you thinking about? Are you thinking about the sensations of this pose? Or have you already begun to think about the things that need to be done after this practice? Invite yourself to be here right now. Give yourself permission to just be right in the moment. Last couple of breaths here. And then slowly begin to bring your knees up and your hips back into the middle of the mat. And maybe heel toe your feet as wide as the mat. Just let those knees come together briefly. And take a few deep breaths here. Feeling the spaciousness you've created in your own body in this short practice. And then begin to move into whatever version of Savasana feels right to you today. As I continue to hold space for you. If you set an intention at the beginning of this practice, now is a great time to revisit that intention. My intention for you was to be present. And to aid that, I just want to talk a little bit. I wrote a few thoughts down before this practice. Fall in the middle season asks us to go inward, to pursue creative activities. It's a lot like the trees shedding their leaves in the fall. They're letting go of the old so that they can rest and create the new. And that is exactly what we need to do in the fall season. So it's going inward to pursue creative activities like journaling and writing, rather than pursuing the fire of activity that's summer. And once again, I want to read Rumi's poem for you. This is now. Now is all there is. Don't wait for then. Strike the spark, light the fire. So light the fire of your creativity, using that metal to create the sparks. And just rest in Shavasana until you hear me speak again. And begin to bring your attention back to your physical body. Notice all the points that may be touching your mat or the earth, your ankles, your glutes and hips, and shoulder blades, and back of your head. Sink deeper and deeper into the support of the earth. Know that it's always there to ground you. Allow your breath begin to deepen. If your eyes are not already closed, I invite you to close them now, if that's comfortable for you. And begin to take any little movements that feel right in your body, or stay in Savasana for as long as you'd like. Maybe wiggling fingers and toes. Maybe turning the head from side to side. Perhaps even windshield wipering your legs, we did earlier. Your next inhale, inhale your arms up overhead, stretching from the tips of your fingertips all the way down to the tips of your toes. One big, long stretch. And then begin to bring your knees in towards your chest and allow your legs to fall over towards one side, still keeping the eyes closed if they are. Take a few breaths here. Take a moment to give yourself gratitude for taking that time just for you. Knowing that taking this time is not selfish, but will help you to be a better partner, a better daughter, a better parent, a better son. And slowly take the palms of your hands to your mat. Walk your body upright. Inhale, take the palms of the hands together in front of your heart. Elbows come out to either side. Thumbs tuck into the sternum, raising your spine, opening your heart, and head bows slightly over your hands. May you be healthy. May you be happy. May you be free from pain and suffering. And may you be here now. Gently begin to let your eyes flutter open, taking in your mat, raising your head, hopefully with a smile on your face, and letting your hands just fall into your lap. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this practice. I am so grateful for each and every one of you who chooses to practice with me. If you enjoyed this practice, please click the like button so others can practice with us. And if you'd like to practice with me again, go ahead and click the subscribe button and the bell. If you'd like to go deeper into Yin Yoga, you can always join my private Facebook group. The link is in the description below. And have a wonderful day or evening.